right, let me just make sure that we're good. Let me know if you can hear me, and then we can start. Awesome. Good to go. Perfect. All right, let's do it. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're tuning in from. Thanks again for joining for another session. Yeah, last week I took some time off. Well, not really off from streaming, but I was just, finishing up a few things related to Ignite, writing up a few sort of experiences that will be published soon, since considering that Ignite starts tomorrow. Hopefully, you folks have already signed up for a few sessions. Looks like there's going to be a lot of really interesting stuff going on. So yeah, that's kind of what I spent my time doing last week. But just overall, really happy that's kind of done and over with, and now kind of get back to sort of business as usual until build, that is, right? Which it feels like there's almost no time, right? Like it we finish one conference and then the next one's upon us. Which is kind of cool, right? Like you every 6 months or so you get these awesome releases and announcements and all sorts of stuff. So yeah. Anyway, new week, Monday. It's awesome. Finally, it's sweater weather here in the Northeast. So that's nice. I'm very happy about that. Football, college football is mostly back, so that's awesome. Big Ten football, if you follow that, is back. So I'm really happy to see that. And most importantly, Ohio State, Penn State are playing on Halloween. So couldn't get any better. Unfortunately, I don't know if they're going to be letting people in there, but either way, it's going to be a really fun time. Yeah, so let's get into it. So let's go over a few things here in the news. If you folks weren't aware of it, right? .NET 5 RC1 was released, so we're getting closer. I believe .NET 5 is releasing at the time of .NET Conf, which is in November, right? Very, very early November, like the first or second week of November. But RC1, it seems like it's all sort of feature complete, and it's just making sure that it's all ready for release on in November. So check that out if you haven't already. One of the really nice things of .NET 5 RC1, and I haven't gone through and sort of benchmark tested and basically done all these things to see if all scenarios work, is with .NET 5 you are now able to, from a lot of the tests that I've done, you are now able to use Blazor WASM and ML.NET, at least for inferencing, right, or for making predictions. You're able to sort of natively use it, which is awesome. That's a feature that I have been waiting on for a really long time, or for it to work. It worked before .NET 5, but it was very limited. So now, having the ability to essentially be able to offload the inferencing capabilities from the server, right? So instead of sending data to the server, making the basically going over the wire, right? And putting that sort of load on the server, you're now doing it on the client, and you're just utilizing the client's resources. Yeah, John, yay! I'm very happy. I'm very very excited about that. Um, so I'm just really excited to see what's now that this other sort of deployment target is made available. Right now, you can deploy directly to the browser without having to depend on a server. I'm really excited and interested in seeing sort of what people come up with and the different scenarios that they implement. Right, basically embedding their models alongside their static websites, and that's actually the other thing, right? The other benefit is when you're deploying these things, right? Again, you have, because you don't have that dependency on the server, um, or at least for making inference requests, right? You can deploy your model essentially as a static website. So if you create a static website, again with Blazor WASM or PWA, whatever it is that you're building, you can deploy that and basically host that in something like GitHub Pages, right? Or you can deploy that to Azure static websites, right? And the nice thing about that, right? Hosting for these hosting for these static websites, it's relatively pennies on the dollar, depending on how much traffic you get, right? But for the most part, it is pennies on the dollar. For example, my blog, I used to host it. I think I had it with Namecheap or something like that. And the reason was at the time I set it up and because they were my sort of hosting provide my domain provider. I was just like, yeah, sure, let's just keep everything together. But at the end of the day, I didn't really need to have my blog. My blog was a static website, so there was no need for me to host and pay whatever the fee was on a monthly basis. And a few months ago, I just transitioned and I moved it over to .NET. Sorry, not to .NET. I moved it over to Azure Static Websites, and my bill went from a few tens of dollars to pennies, right? So basically enabling those scenarios, it's really exciting. User to you, what will be really cool is to perform some transfer learning on the client side. Yeah, that's interesting. I haven't tried training on the client side. I don't see why you wouldn't be able to do it. Um, but I haven't tried it. So I'm not quite sure, but you're right. I mean, it is potentially it's something that you could do. Like I'm what I envision, right? Or some of the some of the experiences that could be created will be something similar to this, right? Is it this one? Yeah, so something like this, right? So if you have your model on the client side and you're able to sort of inspect it and do all these sort of interesting things with it, right? Being able to do this all on the client side will be really, really powerful. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. Let's see what else is going on. Like to code. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. So this Wednesday there is a new. So kind of going off, and I'm just gonna finish that topic, right? That thought of being able to use Blazor WASM, and using ML.NET with Blazor WASM. Um, this Wednesday, the machine learning community stand up is there's another episode or another community stand up, and in that we're gonna have Bart, who was previously one of the presenters at the ML.NET, the virtual ML.NET conference, the very first one that we had, and he's been sort of tinkering with this, and I know that he's really excited to get this scenario working. So we're gonna have him on, and he's gonna demo a few things for us and showing how he's basically implemented in a much more real case, real world scenario, right? How you might want to basically deploy these static models alongside your static site. So yeah, John, Bart is great. He's his if you haven't seen it before, let's see, Microsoft Architecture Center or Azure Architecture Center. So if you haven't seen it, yeah, machine learning, batch scoring. He put together architectures, batch score. There we go. This might be a little bit small to see, but he basically implemented this decision analysis, which is also what he presented over at the virtual ML.NET conference. And I'm gonna paste this link in here so you can check it out. And he basically has this live demo of his solution, and he basically walks you through the architecture. You'll notice that before he was working with a Blazor, right? But he was using Blazor Server at the time. Now I believe part of the component, right? You basically shift a lot of these pieces of the architecture. I could see that shifting here now to the client, right? Which is really cool. So he'll be talking a little bit more about, I believe, something like this. But yeah, he's got tons of really, really cool stuff and interesting demos. So make sure to check out and tune in this Wednesday for the community stand-up. All right, cool. So now, oh, I said I was going to finish. I was going to be done with it. But I noticed it down here, Bolero. So Bolero 0.15 is released. I don't know if this includes the .NET 5, but if you prefer to use the F sharp sort of, if you prefer to work with Blazor inside of F sharp, Bolero, if you haven't heard of it, it's a really I believe it uses .NET Blazor. It uses Blazor to provide an F sharp way and more of an MVU type approach to building these WASM applications, right, for the browser. So assuming that they eventually move to, right now it's using .NET Core 3.1402, so assuming that if and when they move to .NET Core 5.0, they're going to be able to also take advantage of this capability of deploying your models inside of Blazor WASM. And again, this is for the folks who prefer to use the F sharp way for building these applications. So exciting stuff. All right, now now for sure we'll talk here and get back to what we were doing. So remembering last time what we did and where we left off, we were able to pull off a few and write a few queries for the data set that we're working with. So we've been working with the Arxiv data set, and we were able to write a few queries. Now, they were all great, and we kind of got the results that we expected. The thing now, though, that what we're going to want to do now at this point is, okay, we have these queries, we have some information, we were able to extract some information, such as, what we're like, sort by year, what the top topics were for the articles that were published, and things like that. But it would be nice if we could visually represent these things, right? So can we use something like XPlot, right, which is a visualization library? Can we use something like XPlot to plot the results of our queries? So that's what we want to do at this point. I'm actually not quite sure, so it's going to take a little bit of time for me to kind of wrap my head around this, because at the moment, I don't think that there's interoperability between Spark or .NET for Spark data frames, the data frame API, and sort of IEnumerables, right? I'm not saying that there isn't, but we'll sort of figure it out here on stream how we can essentially do that, okay? So let me go ahead and connect to a host. And we're going to connect to our VM that we have set up in Azure. Yes, continue. That's what happens. You leave for a week and you forget your credentials. Bear with me here. Okay, cool. Are we in? Yep, we're in. Let me just see if I can make this a little bit bigger. There we go. And the thing that we're going to want to do, like we've done in previous sessions, right, is just start up our Jupyter server and also open the folder containing our, returning our project and the work that we've been doing. So, okay. So this was the sample that we had put together. But what we want is we want to do two things. Number one is we want to start, go to notebooks. What is it? Notebook.sh. Perfect. We want to start notebooks in debug mode. So notebooks. No. Yeah. Cool. So now we're in debug mode, which means that now we're going to be able to bind to this sort of connection that's listening, or to the support that's listening for connections coming from a Spark session. Okay. And then here, we just say Jupyter Notebook, right? Perfect. And the last thing that we want to do here is this one. Okay, cool. I'm already forwarding. Right. So now if I do this, I should be able to connect. Right. Awesome. All right. So notebooks, archive, load data, IPy, and B. Okay. So one of the things that we're going to want to consult is the documentation. So Microsoft.com/.net API Spark. Is that gonna work? Would have been too easy. Spark. Okay, Spark, SQL. And what we're looking at is data frame. So what I want to do with the data frame is we want to be able to selects columns based on the column name. What I want to see is how can I actually Spark. All right. So let's see if how to guide broadcasting, UDF, debug, submit jobs. It shows you how to install. HT Insight, default configurations. Okay, cool. Okay, so this is UDF. Let's see, what does this broadcast guide do? Learn how to mechanisms sharing variables across executors that are meant to be read-only. Right. Yeah, but the broadcast is done. festlab.org. Thanks, user, to you. Yeah, so to be clear, I guess what I'm looking at here. Yeah, so this is actually a really good resource. What FS Lab has here, but what I'm looking for at the moment is how can I, because with FS Lab, I guess I need to take this and create a list, right, of my series and my inputs. But what I'm trying to figure out here is how can I take a data frame, a Spark.NET for Spark data frame, and extract basically get the values from a column or columns so that then I can plot them. So let's see, because all column is going to do, right, is it's going to return to me a column. So I give it the column and it returns to me a column, right? But what can I do with a column? I can... Can I convert it to an IEnumerable? Okay, so these are my operators. It's not what I'm looking for. Data frame, let's see, data frame writer. So JDBC mode. Right, but save as table just creates, converts it to. I mean, I could. So the easy way to go about this, right, is I dump it as a text file, which I then read back in and plot it. But I mean, if it's got to come to that, I could do that. But that's not really what I'm interested in doing. I'm interested in how, if I already have this information, how can I just visualize it? Let's see, Spark session, row. What do rows give me? Okay, so I get the values. Could I iterate through the rows? Let's see. Spark. Okay, so here are examples. Sure, let's do F# examples. SQL. Basic. For row, yeah, do. Okay, df.schema. So what does collect do? If I have a data frame, it's not column, but collect. Ah, there we go. Returns an array that contains all rows in this data frame. Ah, there it is. This is exactly what I'm looking for. This might be a problem. This might be a problem. Because if we recall, one of the reasons why we didn't want to do this, or by this I mean loading it all into memory, is it's a lot of data, and we ran, if we just did system.text.json, or if we did the standard system.io methods for reading in this data, we ran into a problem. But you know what? Let's try it. Yeah, what do we got to lose? All right, let's try it. See what we get. Okay, here's my data directory. Spark session. Okay, archive data. Okay, it's still reading. What I could do is I could run the query and use. Yeah, sorry about that. There, is that better? Yeah, I realized I didn't do it here either. I wonder if you can, I'll look into that. If you can like set a default size for these, for the zoom. That way I don't have to do it on every page. All right, we're still going here. That's not cool. Buffering every 20 seconds. I wonder if it's because, well, no, that wouldn't be it. I gotta figure out this whole streaming situation. Probably spend time this weekend So I mean, it's definitely not a data issue. I mean, I'm hooked up directly to the Ethernet, but I guess it's not a connection thing. It might be sort of the encoding and everything that's happening. So I will have to figure that out. All right, so we have our columns. Let's see. All right. So now what I want to do is I want to iterate over this. So sort of like this, right? For row in, yes. It's not going to be pretty, but let's categories enum enumerable is equal to categories dot collect. Okay. And then for row in categories enumerable do. Yeah, perfect. Do what? Print append %s row dot to string. Cool. So how does this look like? I hope it doesn't crash my driver. Perfect. So I get a list. So this is what it looks like. I get a list and the count, right? So this is a list and here's a count. So now let's turn to XPlot. Series. Okay, Plotly. Something interesting that I just noticed here. Notice how here there's astro-ph, but notice how there's a subcategory here. astro-ph.sr, astro-pa.ga, astro-ph.co. So I'm not going to do it now because I want to figure out this plotting thing first. But at some point, what we're going to want to do is perhaps create different columns and either create different columns or combine these, right, into, because technically astro-ph and astro-ph, they're the same. I don't know if this number contributes to that number. And if there's subcategories, what exactly are these subcategories? So these are things that we're going to want to explore somewhere down the line. But for the meantime, let me just take this and let's see. For row in categories enumerable do. Okay, so now this one gives me an enumerable of row. So let's take a look at the row and what can we access within the row. On a given index. Okay. That would iterate twice. Okay. Yeah, so what we can do is let's see. So it's going to be a row for a row in for, well, actually, technically it's a sequence, right? So categories, I enumerable. Let me start with a record. So type, value counts, category counts equal to this, right? And what I want here is I want to have categories count. Trying to think of the best way to do this. If I should just wrap it in a tuple. Or if I should extract them individually, because eventually what we're going to want is essentially what I want is this, right? I want to create a bar. Ah, perfect. So this is what we're going to do. So our data is going to be this. Awesome. Okay. So that answers my question. We're going to want to create a tuple, a list of tuples, because that is what it expects. So, so currently, right, this categories are enumerable. It's enumerable containing a list. So it's a list of lists. It has nested list. But if we take a look at Plotly, right, what it expects, it's a list of tuples. And by list, I'm using the term interchangeably. It's actually a collection. It's not exactly a list. It's an enumerable, or in F#, it's a sequence. So what we're going to want to do is, I lost it. There it is. So it expects a tuple where one is the category, or whatever it is that you're assigning to it, and the other one is the count. So let's do that. Okay. All right. So let's get rid of, do I need to do this? No. So categories enumerable sec dot data is equal to sec dot map fun x equal to, nope, fun x fun row dot 0 comma row dot 1, right? So what we're going to want to do is we're going to iterate through each row, get the first value, and then get the second value. So get this value and then get that value here. And that's going to be our data. I hope that worked. And now we just basically follow this example here. All right, so let our layout. Oh. It would be much better if I did this. Otherwise, it might not work. Open XPlot. Open XPlot.Plotly. All right. So now I can actually paste this, and then we can basically take this here, paste it here. Okay. Why did that? It's a key and a value. I give it a sequence. Okay. So what's the problem here? No overloads match for method. So I gave it a sequence of objects and objects. Aspects of sequence. Let me look at this for a second here. Take 5. So basically now I want to iterate. Defend percent. Oh. Yeah, so that's exactly what I have. So if I look at the first 5, it's fine. That's exactly what I need. What I don't know, though, is what data type this is and if it's an integer or not. I would hope that it is, but... Okay. I don't know. It's possible. I mean, because right now it's looking at... I think part of the problem is that right now it's looking at a sequence of objects and objects. Maybe I just need to more explicitly tell it what it's going to be. So sequence of string long. What is it? Type expression, so type string. Here is type obj. Have type int. Here has type obj. I wonder if I need to do a cast here. Something like toString. So what happens is the row has no, it just returns an object, so I need to explicitly tell it what it is. So in this case, if I want to do, let me get rid of this type annotation. Well, actually, you know what? It's fine for now. And here, int32.parse. Let's see, sharp int30 parse int. Yeah, that's what it is, int32.parse. Do I need to import system? Is that what I'm missing here? Thought I had system. Guess not. All right, let me import system. Okay, now this does not look good, but okay. Let's see, how does this look? Okay, it still looks the same. Find a way to clean it up. Did it work? I mean, my screen froze. My screen froze for a second. Should be the other way around, but at least I got something. Okay. Wow, that is interesting. Check this out. Well, should we do it the other way around? Okay, so how does this look like now? All right. All right, and it froze again, but I think I'm gonna have to play around with this layout so that instead of being vertical, I need to flip it to horizontal. Yeah, this doesn't give me exactly what I want, so yeah, okay. Yeah, so the other way around was better. All right. All right, so now let's do it again. So something interesting that's going on here, and I'll show you right now. Once eventually I'll figure out the layout, but you can still see what's happening here. Yeah, okay. So, a few things aside, notice how there's like this huge distribution here, right? Where it's like probably in the tens of thousands. Let me zoom in here. Oh, come on. All right. There's this huge disparity here. All right, I want to zoom out. There's a huge disparity. Look at how many ones are here. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. And I wonder if some of these could be bundled, kind of like I was alluding to before, or if we could get rid of them. Or if we could get rid of them. Okay, but I like this. You're right. It's a good start. All right, let's make this a little bit better while that's happening. Sorry, bear with me. This is taking an insane amount of time. Okay, let's zoom in here. See if we can capture the larger. Yeah, there's like a steep drop off. Look, 10,000. All right, so let's do this. Let's take everything that's over 1,000. Well, actually, before I do that, let me finish this off by figuring out the layout. Because you would think that that is, yeah, there we go. Layout type. Oh, I could do this too. Sorry, stacked bar chart. No, not really. No. Yeah, so if I was doing it the other way, then it would be like this. Try, instead of chart.bar, try chart.plot. Yeah, let me see. Chart.plot. Let's see. So so I need to give it a trace, and a trace is, where is it? XPlot.Plotly. It's this thing here, right? So a trace needs to be that. All right, let me play around with this layout, because I think this one's going to be the one that, okay, layout, x dot, auto size, bar gap, bar mode. Let's see. Horizontal, vertical. Or there we go. Orientation? No. For polar plots only. Set the color of the paper, plotting everything. Okay, radial axis, scene, separators, shapes. Show legend. So annotations, auto size, bar gap, bar mode. Direction's not it. Let's see the graph module. Hover format, line width, mirror. Yeah, this is not doing it. Let's see. Because chart.plot, chart.bar. What does this get me? Sorry, just bear with me. All right, so chart.bar. I could do a trace. It returns to me a Plotly chart. So Plotly chart. Let's see, Plotly, XPlot.Plotly chart. Okay, so what can I do with the chart? Chart.bar, and I pass in the data. With layout, give it the chart. All right, let's see. With title, with Y title. Okay, what does this get me? It gets me a broken link. Cool. All right, am I gonna have to go to GitHub to figure this thing out? Let's see, github.com. Let's try to find XPlot.Plotly. No, that's not it. GitHub XPlot.Plotly. There we go. So I want to source Plotly plots. It's main chart. There we go. Plotly chart. Get inline JS, get plotting JS. All right, it expects a trace. Let's see, with labels, with layout. What was the one that I was interested in seeing? With options. There we go. With options. With layout, options. So with layout, what are my options? With X title, with Y title. Whoops. That's not what I was trying to do. So I think what I could do is plot the first one, layout, data. Does this work? Identifier with token. No, that doesn't work either. Expect identifier or other token. Okay, this doesn't work. All right. So let's try to figure out then plots. Is there a layout here? Nope. Oh, there it is. Layout. So what can I set? Font, title, auto size, margin, height sources, show length, drag mode, x-axis. let's try this. So I know if we go here, oh, whoops, that's Google. We want Plotly. Bar. Yeah, let's go and let's do an anonymous. Yeah, let's do an anonymous record here. So that data is equal to categories I enumerable seg.map, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna tell it what is this? X is equal to this actually doesn't work. Because that's going to iterate through every row and I need to append to it. So no, this one doesn't work. So what we're going to do is, let's see, let data is equal to categories I enumerable. I only want to go through it once. Though I don't want to go through it twice. Let's see. So if I already have this, let's see. If I already have this, whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. Edit, undo. Great. Data is equal to categories I enumerable. Seg.map. Row dot row dot 0 dot toString dot 1 dot toString and 32 dot parse. Of course, it's not going to work because I have the wrong thing here. Essentially, what I'm trying to do now is I want to get it into this format, right? I want to create a trace. But I don't want to flatten it. I don't want to flatten the list. What I could do is this. What is it? Categories? Did I just call it categories? Okay. So let categories name is equal to categories dot select call functions dot, is that what I called it? Functions dot call. And is that what it's called? It's called categories. Categories dot collect. Let category count. Categories select functions.call count collect. Okay, so now I have this, right? And what I could do now is I can do something like category name seg.take 5 seg.iter percent o. And what this should do is, so what I've done here is I've split it out. Oh, and I want to flatten it. So I want to do one last thing. So after I call collect, I want to call, what is it? Flatten list. I always forget what the list flattening of sharp. I think it's collect also, if I remember correctly. There we go. Sequence.collect. I want a sharp. Nah, no, that's not it. So I want to do seg. Let's see. What is it? Seg. What do you mean? Seg.map. Why doesn't this work? And term types based on prior information from us. D. Dot to string. So why doesn't this want to work? ID.0. Yeah, so I get the schema and the values. Let's see. Row dot 0 dot to string. Okay, so that's what happens. The problem though is now what I want to do. Select. Oh no, that's not right. That's not right. That's not what I'm trying to do. Oh, is it that easy? I just got to do a map? Okay, fine. All right. So from here, on row. How does this on row dot 0 dot to string? Oh, sorry. This one's not going to be to string. Actually, it is in 32.parse. Okay. All right. And this one's it's going to be seg.map on row dot 0 dot to string. Okay. Category name and category count. So now category name, I just do sec.take 5. And then here, what I'll do is category count, sec.take 5, right? And I should get the counts in the right order. Yep, that's right. Okay, so now that I have these, now I can go ahead and do this, which is, if I go here, right, let group trace. So do a trace, let, I don't know, trace. So X, it's gonna be category names. This one's gonna be category counts. Archive categories. Okay. So once I have my trace, what happened? Oh, category name and category count. Okay. So I have my trace. Now what I want to do is I want to what do we call it here? We can just call it that. Basic layout. And then what we're going to do here is this, right? Trace. Oh, layout. All right, fingers crossed. This works. Froze. All right, gonna give it a few minutes. I see we're already gone way past top of the hour. All right, awesome. That worked. That did exactly what we're trying to do. So, so now on the next stream, now that we figured out how can we extract, so we figured out a few things here. Number one, we figured out how to extract the rows as an IEnumerable, right, from a query, and we did that with the collect function of .NET for Apache Spark. We then figured out how we can use Plotly to plot a bar chart here to essentially show this. Now, there's a few problems that we're going to want to kind of try to figure out next time. Number one is, let's cut this off at anything. Let's just take the examples or the categories that have over 1,000. And the other thing is, we're going to want to take a look into, is there a way, like, should we combine these values here that seem to be kind of the same thing, except that there are some subcategories. So I think this is a good stopping point for now. I think that it was a little bit slow, but we got this figured out. So now that we're good to go, we're going to try to tackle those problems next time on Wednesday. So again, thanks a lot. Thanks again for joining, and I'll see you Wednesday. Take care. Bye.